Hello everybody, my name is David Whitting. I'm head of the Wynnum Road Development Project. Together with my three development managers, we have a combined experience of over about 100 years, and all of us are actively engaged on this project. My personal experience is over 30 years in senior development roles, including being co-head of Queensland for Brookfield and Multiplex, also senior roles with Laing O'Rourke, and also head of GrowCon doing the 480 Queen Street BHP building. WRM is a co-living development. Many of you will have heard of build to rent, and this is a subtype. Whereas build to rent apartments are generally at a minimum 1 bed plus a living room, we have large hotel style suites, and they're targeted much more towards the slightly shorter stay.
The living market is a strong sector of the market at the moment. The kind of yields that we are seeing in terms of the operation of this project are double what you would get from a residential project. The tax settings have become more favourable for the build-to-rent asset class, of which this is part. So our range of potentially interested buyers can include both overseas and local, and can move from high net worth family up to superannuation funds. One of the reasons why we went for this particular use was the obvious dearth of investment properties available for rent in Brisbane. In Morningside in particular, the vacancy rate is about 1%, and obviously the site's proximity to the station, for the bus routes on Wynnum Road, the proximity to the CBD and South Bank, including some of the new construction going on at Wollongabba, meant that we had a very strong conviction, and our operator had a very strong conviction in terms of the revenue for the project. So the value of the property has been predicated upon the mid-term case that our operator UCO has provided, and which has been validated and explored by BDO, who is the valuer. The income that has been assumed by both UCO and BDO does not count for those nice little extras, including hotelling. Obviously, our strategy to date, since we first put our option on the property, was to continually de-risk the operation for our investors. So we've taken it from a raw piece of land, we've got a DA on it, we went out and got an operator to provide the revenue on it, we've got a valuation on it. We directed the design of the project from the beginning to be a modular project in design, which enabled us to both explore conventional construction pricing and modular construction pricing. We believe that modular construction will play an increasingly significant part in the delivery of projects such as this, because obviously our construction market is running like a steam train, with both the hospital deliveries and the Olympics that are going on in southeast Queensland. Also, obviously, the subcontract trades are problematic with the amount of work going on, both in terms of availability and pricing. And what modular does is it actually cuts out some of those trades and is a much more efficient building system in the current climate. So we went to both Australian modular builders, and we also looked at the overseas opportunities. China Constructions, which is the largest construction company in the world, opened an office in Brisbane some while ago with a Queensland builder's licence, and they have done several large jobs already in other large cities in Australia. China Constructions are one of the foremost manufacturers and constructors of this type of product around the world, and particularly in other Southeast Asian markets. We've been working with China Constructions for over a year now to validate the design and the manufacture. As part of that, we went to visit China Constructions factory in Shenzhen to validate for ourselves what they were doing there. When we walked in, we saw a sign on a module that's saying they were doing a hotel room in Pitt Street in Sydney. So that to us was a very good pointer, I guess, to the fact that they're doing work on Australian jobs already. We were accompanied on that trip with the Queensland licensee from China Constructions, who went through the modules and confirmed from his point of view all of the Australian standards were being met. One of the things that always concerns me as well, even though I'm on the development side, being in large construction companies, is health and safety. And the Chinese factory was so advanced in that aspect that if you walked around and took your hard hat off, alarms would start to sound. So you can be assured that the Chinese are all over the health and safety of their own employees. So there is a very strict procedure that would happen in terms of sending certifiers across to ensure that the Australian standards were being met during construction. The factory even offered additional safeguards, which they do for other projects, which is live video streaming of each product as it's being built and delivered, so that other certifiers back here can sign off in real time aspects of the construction that need to be certified. The main reason, of course, that we have gone down this line and looked at it is the fact that it does have a financial benefit over and above traditional construction in the current Southeast Queensland market. At the moment, we assess the benefit of that at about 25% discount. The intention for the project is to deliver it, to get it operational, and then at about the 3-month period, which is where UCO thinks it will stabilise, to put it on the market. The use of funds for the current raise is to get us to that construction contract and that debt piece, which will then is intended to provide some liquidity for current investors in the project. The thing that I'm most proud of in this project is actually probably twofold. That is providing obviously accommodation which is badly needed for renters in the current climate in Southeast Queensland. And it's also bringing modular to Southeast Queensland, and I should point out that we won't be the first, we'll probably be the second, but the applicability of this method of construction, which is obviously cheaper in the current market, has a broad range of application across 3 to 3.5 star hotels, for living accommodation that isn't premium, the housing of people who really need it, and we're talking about the general population. We're talking about facilities for policemen and nurses and workers coming to our city, and for people who can't access our market from other regions who are moving towards us. We think is a really important sector of the market.